Hi, welcome to video. Hope you're doing well. So I just want to talk a little bit about 1 Corinthians 6:3. Somebody asked me the question, when do I think this was fulfilled? And it said, do you not know that we will judge angels? How much more matter to this life? I think the we here is referring to the house of Israel, particularly the 12 apostles. So when did this fit in my timeline? If we go here, you have, where basically I took the writing of Josephus and I built from there to tie it together with the scripture what Josephus had, with the timeline there, the actual dates. And I'm actually the first person in history to get the 1355 days when that actually happened. So that was from August 15th of AD 66 through April 10th, AD 70. So the 1355 day prophecy at the end of 12. And then from there, I built it to, you just build from there, the framework. It all comes together. So the house of Israel, their last day was Tishri 5 of AD 73, just a few years after the temple was destroyed. This is the AD 70 right here. This vertical green line, and this vertical green line is their last day, September 22nd, AD 73. But that was on Tishri 5 of AD 73. So what's the significance of that? You had the times and half a time of Daniel 12:7, which ties to the Yom Teruah. The Yom Teruah was a 10-day festival, 10-day feast, of the Jewish people from Tishri 1 to Tishri 10. And so the times, and a half a time applies to those Yom Teruahs. And so the half a time is day 5 out of 10 of AD 73, which would bring you to Tishri 5 of September 22nd, AD 73, which so happens matches the 1260 prophecy of Revelation 12:6, where the stick of Judah fled on April 10th, 80 73. The following day, the first day of 1260 days, you add that, it brings you right to the exact same date, September 22nd, 80 73. They match. So anyway, that was their last day. And so that was a time of judgment, and that would have been the great white throne judgment of the house of Israel. Now, some of you might be hearing this, be like, what the heck? Oh, no, that's future. The problem here that I find is the large majority of Christians today, they approach scriptures as if it's centered around Gentile Christians. The Bible is not centered around Gentile Christians. It's centered around the house of Israel, all the way from the beginning to the end. And so, so if you take that approach, guarantee you, wait a minute, the chronology, the time indicators, I'm no longer substituting myself to primary audience, and the grammar and the setting, and all of a sudden, wait a minute, the Bible is so clear what it says. It's a matter of keep studying, the light bulbs come on. And you'll get light bulb after light bulb that comes on when you take that sort of approach. But if you approach it as if it's centered around you, or centered around the Gentile Christian, you are not going to get the author's intent. I guarantee you. But anyway, so the question is, 1 Corinthians 6:3 was fulfilled. Now I have a question mark here because I cannot verify that, but I'm just using logic here, all right? So the great white throne judgment, the judgment of the 12 tribes of Israel, which occurred by these right here, the 12 apostles, all right, would have taken place that day. And then what happened the remaining 5 days of Yom Teruah, which was Tishri 6 to Tishri 10, or September 23rd to September 27th, they were off the earth at this point. First Thessalonians chapter 4, fulfilled at this point. They were taken off the earth, those who were alive and remaining of the house of Israel. And so it just makes sense that after that took place, then the judgment of the angels right after that. And so what angels are we talking about? So you look at Luke 1, 26-28, Gabriel appeared to Mary. That's one example. You had the angel that rolled back the stone from the door. you had the angels telling them when to gather. And that they would have gathered by September 11th, AD 66, right after the laws were revealed. So there had been angels involved with that. You had, let's see here, and you had Matthew 19, actually just a passage concerning the judgment 12 tribes of Israel. Sorry about that. Matthew 13, and she said the angels and gathered together his elect from the four winds. As far as the details of that, I don't know, okay, but that would have been happening for sure, being executed by the stick of Joseph from Tishri 1 to Tishri 5 of AD 66. And then Tishri 6 would have been September 11th, 1866. They would have had to arrive at their destination by that point, which I believe was Petra. Keep in mind, this would had been all done quietly. This is what makes it so difficult in trying to piece it together. By using drawing software, I was able to unlock it, and I was able to make these discoveries. The problem is most scholars today, or actually every scholar today, they go by written material. Well, they didn't go around writing everybody, hey, I'm leaving, adios. They did not do that. They left quietly, and they had to, because they did not want the persecution to follow them. And that's partly why the Bible is so difficult to try to piece it all together, because it was designed to not only separate the wheat versus the tares, but also protect the house of Israel when they left for their gathering. All right. So, so there's that period, the half a time, and we have the, Revelation 12:14, time, and half a time, which would bring you to when they left for the gathering, okay? And this would have been right after the laws were revealed. Remember in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, Paul said the apostasy had to take place first. Yes, that was the Jewish revolt. And then he said the laws won't have to be revealed. That occurred on August 14th, 1866. Eleazar, when a restrainer, who was his dad, was killed that day, and right away his laws was kicked in, and he ordered a cessation of sacrifices of the, which is this red line here, which stopped right there. And that was the fulfillment of Daniel 12. All right. So it talks about the cessation of sacrifices. So anyway, so that just kind of gives you my line of thinking why I pick First Corinthians chapter 6 verse 3 to be filled. It meant somewhere between Tishri 6 and Tishri 10th of AD 73. It would have been the last final 5 days of their final Yom Teruah for the Jewish people. It just makes sense. That would have been, do I know for sure? No, I don't. That's why I have a question mark right there. But just using logic, piecing it together, everything was complete. The house of Israel was taken up off the earth. No more on the earth. There's nothing more on the earth with the house of Israel and Christ pertaining to his bride. And now Christ's bride is the house of Israel that came to Christ, not the church as a whole, not the Gentile church. The Gentile church is really more the offspring of them. Today, the Jews or the Gentiles who have come to Christ, all the Christians today, which are all the Christians today, they are the offspring of the house of Israel. All right. So if you look at Galatians chapter 4, verse 26, they refer to our mother. We're the offspring. All right. And the bride, Christ, was the house of Israel that came to Christ. So we are the Israel of God. The Gentiles came to Christ. There's no distinction between Jew and Gentile from that perspective. But God still had a plan with the house of Israel. So they were involved with the judgment of the 12 tribes of Israel, which the Gentiles were not a part of. There's no distinction between Jew and Gentile, but they're not a part of that. And what else can I try to say? My mind's going blank. But Yeah. So the Gentile Christians, they are not a part of the house of Israel. They never were. It had been along the bloodline of Jacob, and God had a plan with them, and it's all been fulfilled in the first century. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah. So now those are my thoughts when 1 Corinthians 6:3 was fulfilled. It was sometime during that period, during their last Yom Teruah, the second half of their last Yom Teruah. The first half were their final 5 days on earth. Those who were alive and remaining were taken up off the earth, and that was when they were in Petra, would have been in Petra. All right. So anyway, yeah, so I was asked this recently, and yeah, so those are my thoughts. But hey, somebody might have a better answer than I do. I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty confident that this seemed to be right based on logic. When would that have taken place? It would have been right here. After the house of Israel was taken up off the earth, went through the judgment, the white throne judgment. So, alrighty. Anyway, hope this helps, and hope you have a great day. Thank you.